here with Manav Parikh. Manav, thank you very much for coming in for an episode of the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah. How long have you guys been doing this? It's been like a year or something, right?
Yeah, Cesare and I started the podcast, I think, last fall during COVID. You know, it was so strange, like having classes online, and we didn't really have too much stuff going on in the afternoon. Like we didn't have we had assembly, but it was virtual, and it was only some days of the week, and the afternoons were just so wide open, at least for me. And I live super close by to Gilman, so like I would teach my classes and then just kind of wander up here, and I feel like I was like, Cesare, I kind of need to do something to keep busy in the afternoon. Do you think we can start a podcast episode and just see where it goes? And you know, it's been a lot of fun and talked to a lot of people here at Gilman.
Absolutely, yeah. I've watched a lot of the episodes. You guys have had like almost 80, right? 80 or some odd episodes. That's amazing. Yeah.
You might be number 80. No, this might be 78, 79, 70, but we're getting close.
That's awesome. Yeah, in an entire year, and you guys have like interviewed so many awesome people. So super glad to be here.
It's been fun. Learned a lot from the teachers and the coaches and the alums and students.
Yeah.
Just kind of cool to peel back the layers a bit about who these different people are. And I think too, like as a student, you see your teachers in a specific way. Like they're they're the person you see for 80 minutes every other day for the year, and then that's it. But you don't really get to see all of the other interests and things that they do outside of the classroom. Right. So I think this is a way to kind of help with that.
Yeah.
Help expose some of those different areas of school life.
For sure.
Manav, tell me a little bit about when you first came to Gilman and kind of, what your high school experience has been like thus far, because, you're a senior, graduating soon. Kind of want to talk about just your time here at Gilman today. And I don't know, I feel like you've had kind of a strange 2 years, and now you find yourself in your senior year, and things are moving fast. So I'll let you kind of talk about coming here and what this high school experience has been like.
For sure. Yeah, no, I was, we were all of us seniors were like saying at the beginning of the year how we all still feel like sophomores almost, because between the 10th and 11th grade, COVID hit, and the year has never been, fully 5 days a week in person, completely normal. And that was like last time we had that was sophomore year. So we don't really feel like seniors, but I came to Gilman in 9th grade. I used to live in Connecticut until 8th grade, and so it was the summer before 9th grade we moved to Maryland. I went to a private middle school before, but coming to Gilman was a completely different environment. Learning a new dress code, all boys environment, new state. Just trying to make friends, and a completely new environment for me. And what I really found most about Gilman that was really appealing to me is how many different kinds of things that students can engage in, whether it be athletics every day of the week or a lot of clubs after school, music ensembles. And I just tried to, really put myself out there, try some things that I hadn't done before. Especially during that freshman year when I didn't really know many people, I found that clubs and doing a lot of extracurriculars was a great way to just connect with upperclassmen, people in my freshman class as well. And since then, I've tried to continue that for all 4 years of high school, and just stay engaged in whatever way possible.
Yeah. I feel like we've gotten to know each other the past couple of years through Model UN, and I've really just been observing you in Model UN because you run the show in there as a upperclassman leader. But how did you, I guess, decide to get involved with Model UN and some of the other extracurriculars because I feel like you're very involved here at Gilman. That's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is you have your hands in a lot of different clubs and sports and activities.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you. Now, Model UN kind of was just a decision that I made, freshman year. I had never done Model UN before in middle school. In middle school, I did Model Congress, which is a similar type thing where you simulate, United States Congress, and everyone comes to committee with certain bills that they want to see passed, and you debate those bills over the course of the session. And you kind of just debate with other students. But Model UN really was the first time I kind of delved deep into international relations, those kind of politics. I hadn't really known much about that before coming to Model UN, and I had met a couple upperclassmen. A lot of them were in Model UN, and they just encouraged me to do it. And I joined it, and my freshman year, I think it was in the spring, I went to my first conference with the Gilman team at Johns Hopkins, and I just fell in love with it, honestly. I think the experience is so unique where, it's over the course of 3 days, you're put into this room with almost 100 some odd kids who have the same topic as you. You guys don't know each other. Everyone represents a different country, and you're supposed to just debate and try to solve a problem together. And I just really enjoy the collaborative and competitive aspect of it as well. I mean, all countries in the world have different interests, but the goal of Model UN committee is just to work together, try to work together, and pass solutions. I think you've seen us do these practice unmods in Model UN Club Time, where we all split up into different groups, and you try to come up with a bill, come up with a resolution paper that answers the solution, the problem at hand. So it was. Yeah, the first conference, I had no idea what I was doing, honestly. But after that, I just felt like I had learned so much just over that course of 3 days, and I wanted to keep going forward with it. So, yeah. It's
very convenient that it was at Hopkins. And I think the way you're describing Model UN, and again, I don't really know that, even though I'm the advisor, I don't really know that much about Model UN because you guys kind of run the show. You know what you're doing in there. But I think that's the perfect way of describing it, is collaborative and competitive, because from my observations, you guys are always prepping for something and learning more about these countries, and kind of just getting ready to, almost like a sport, defend your arguments and defend your intentions, and preparing for the counter arguments. And
I tell the guys that there's a lot that we can do in club time. We can do. Recently, we've been doing simulated committee sessions where I give all the guys a country, and we act like they're at a conference, and Henry and I are the chairs, and we just act like we don't know the guys in the club, and they're just supposed to use the parliamentary procedure and kind of act like this is a real thing. But I tell them often that you learn the most in the actual committees. Just being there on the day, just trying to step outside your comfort zone and just speak in front of 100 people that you've never met before, and try to speak eloquently about an issue, I think is something that has really I've learned from doing all these Model UN conferences, and that's kind of been how my leadership style is. And I feel confident as a leader of Model UN because of all the practice I've gotten in these committees, in just speaking, thinking on my feet quickly, being able to just collaborate with anyone, try to work out problems in a really short time frame. That's kind of what Model UN has taught me throughout these years. And we've been to a number of conferences, and I've enjoyed all of them, made some awesome memories. So,
how do you think those skills develop for you? Are those developed at the conferences, or just on the day-to-day club meetings? You feel like the practice discussions and debates are helpful in building those skills?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of both. In the club time, of course your skills can grow, but I think the real growth occurs when you're nervous. Even I get nervous when I go to these conferences, because it's just everyone gets nervous when they speak publicly for the first time, and the first time you speak at the beginning of the first committee session, and you're called on, and you're supposed to just make a nice opening speech. That's when the nerves first come out. But during the actual club time at Gilman, I mean, all the guys who you're speaking to, and we just try to create an environment where if people mess up, hey, that's okay. You're going to do that in committee session, and we really want to teach them how do you overcome after you make such a mistake, how you can just rebound and finish your speech and finish strong. So right. I think a lot of it does come from club time, but the actual committee sessions, I felt like my growth has just risen exponentially. Just the nerves and the pressure, and just the discomfort of being there at the beginning, and then
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, speaking in front of people is such a difficult skill to develop. And I think,
100%. Yeah.
I don't think even in high school or college, I really had much experience getting up in front of people.
Yeah.
We just wasn't part of, I don't know, assignments in high school. A little bit
For sure.
more
Yeah.
in my college classes, but still not very much until I started teaching like a few years
Right.
ago and getting comfortable in front of people every day.
Yeah.
I had never really thought about how hard that is. But I think Gilman does a good job with assemblies and the senior speeches and
Absolutely. Yeah.
some of the club opportunities of giving you guys some practice with that.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I think, it's and also in classes, I think a lot of the English history classes are presentation based and a lot of discussion and a Harkness table style where everyone is just encouraged to just speak their mind, and you just open the floor, teachers, open the floor just to anyone's opinion. And I think that's one of the best organic ways to just develop your speaking skills, because you have some information and you're supposed to synthesize it and just try to speak on it. And I think that's I've just over the years I've just taken these different experiences, whether it be in class, Model UN, outside of school, whether just meeting new people, and that's kind of all helped shape my public speaking ability. So yeah.
Do you think you're gonna have you done a senior speech yet or no?
My senior speech is next week on the 19th.
Next
actually.
week.
So yeah.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah. No. Doing a senior speech has always been a goal of mine since freshman year. I think having seen a lot of upperclassmen that I know give senior speeches, and just them sharing their story in front of the whole school and being able, the courage that they have to talk about something that's really close to them in front of the whole community, I think is just a really awesome experience, and one I've wanted to do for a while.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
What is the, I guess, prep for your speech been like? What is the process of, thinking about a topic and going about writing it, getting it edited, proofed, and practicing that?
I think half the battle is really just choosing what you want to write about.
Yeah.
And over the past few days and weeks, I've been giving it a lot of thought. And every time I come up with a topic, I keep thinking, and then, this might seem a little bit better. And I think the main thing that I try to think about is what would speak to the guys in the Gilman community the most. And what's something that from my life I can share with them that might, give them a new outlook or perspective. But I think most of the prep is just a lot of introspection, thinking it to yourself about what, the last 4 years at Gilman. And I think preparing for the senior speech has been a great way to just reflect on my time at Gilman as a whole, because, trying to center on and focus on one experience that you've had that you can talk about as forces you to just look at each year of high school and the major milestones of that.
So it's a little bit different probably than the essays you had to write for college, because you're trying to tailor it to the younger students and get them thinking about their time. And I don't know, I feel like you guys have had to write so many different essays for college. Are you thinking along the same lines as some of those essays, or making it a bit different for?
I think I started to think on the same lines, as in I'm just trying to think about something unique about my life, my perspective that I can share with someone who I may or may not have met before. But I think what's unique about a senior speech is the fact that you've been with you are all in the same community, so you share the same values, same schedule. I mean, a lot of the classes you share are same. Well, as in when you're writing a college essay, the people who are going to read it are probably from different backgrounds as you. They've probably much older, and high school was a while ago for them. But I think for a senior speech, you have to think about, although I'm in the same community as these guys, we all play a sport, we all go to class every day, we're all here at 8 a.m. But what's different about what I do? So it's been a bit tough because we're all very close together, and that speaks to the Gilman brotherhood that to try to be fostered here. So yeah.
I don't want to have you give any spoilers away, but what are some things that you're maybe thinking about for that speech?
Yeah. I was thinking about maybe talking about my college side. This year I had the privilege to take a college math class at a university around here at JHU. I thought that would be a great topic to talk about because it's made me really think about the way I see the Gilman community, and that's occurred from an off-campus experience. One would think that being on campus has helped you see Gilman community in a new way, but I think it's interesting how being off campus has helped, shape my perspective of the Gilman community, especially in this final year of high school. So I thought that would be interesting. I was also considering maybe talking about my tabla, my Indian percussion instrument that I've been playing for a while in the jazz band. I did an assembly with Mr. Jacobs.
That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you. A few weeks ago, and then maybe just talking about that and how I came to do that in the jazz band and stepping outside your comfort zone. So I've been considering some topics like that.
Yeah,
but
those are awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I'm still yet to just synthesize and write it up, and I always love speeches that have stories in them and have incorporate a little bit of humor. So I'm just trying to incorporate that a little bit there as much as I can. So,
yeah, definitely a daunting task, but through your experiences speaking in front of people and writing, and it's got to be a little bit easier for you, but still,
For sure.
it's
Yeah.
a lot of thought goes into about what could be meaningful and what could resonate with the school. So it's a cool experience.
It does. Yeah, it is a great experience. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah.
So tell me about this math class that you're taking at Hopkins and what that whole thing has been like for you.
Yeah, no, it's been an awesome experience. I applied, so I took APBC Calc last year, which was the second, most students take it their senior year. I got to take it junior year. And then after I took this exam, I talked to Mr. Guline, and I knew a couple of current Gilman alums who had done it year above me, 2 years above me, and James Zollinger and Daniel Kurjan. I spoke with them, and they both said it was an awesome experience, being able to just go off campus and take a class. So this year it's been it's in the fall was especially tough because they treat you like a regular college student. So but the lectures are virtual. So unlike at Gilman where you go to class every day, they release a set of videos on the platform, and you're supposed to just watch that. It amounts to about 2.5 hours of lecture time, and you watch that, and then you complete a problem set. And every Thursday, I leave after third period, and I go to the Homewood campus, and I do the in-person components of the class, as in they have a pilot session, which is like a group study session where you do a problem set with a bunch of people who are in the class, same class as you, and you work collaboratively to just talk and think about the problems that are related to the week. And then we have a TA session where one of the TAs, he gives us a little bit of lecture, goes over the material, gives us a quiz, stuff like that. So it's been awesome in that I've been able to meet a lot of Hopkins students, just experience what college life and college classes are like in the final year of my high school, and kind of see how college life relates to high school life and what are the differences between that.
Yeah.
And so I'm really thankful to have done it. And I did differential equations last semester, and then I'm doing Calculus 3 this semester. So
Calculus 3.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It is very challenging. I will say it is. I knew this. I knew I would get a challenge, and I was ready to take that on. But especially with the fact that I'm not used to having virtual lectures, and in college, you don't always have your teacher beside you. You can stay after class and ask them a question, or send them a quick email. I think college study is a little bit more independent than I originally thought. So it's been a bit of a transition to that, trying to accustom to that kind of life. But I've joined it. I've learned a ton of stuff. So I think it'll be great when I matriculate next year. I'll have some knowledge with me when I start. So,
we had in college some of those video courses where you're just sitting at home and watching them. And at first I thought, well, this will be good, and then I can make my own time and my own schedule and figure out when I could watch this.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think I would prefer the like going directly to class and sitting in the room,
yes,
because
exactly.
Life just gets in the way, and that lecture that you were supposed to watch on Monday, now all of a sudden it's Thursday. Now you're behind. So
absolutely,
we had that similar situation. I just always felt like being in the actual presence of the speaker was helpful, but
for sure.
there are benefits to it, right? You can slow it down, you can repeat.
You can watch it again if you want, but no, I do believe that in-person instruction, I think, works best for me as a learner. I respond positively to just having the speaker there, as you said, and being able to ask questions in real time. And hey, if you don't understand something, can you tell the teacher? Can you maybe backtrack, a bit and just talk about that a little bit? And I think it just makes it a better experience. I just learn better that way. But after taking 2 semesters of math, I'm not sure I can give a really informed opinion. I might have to do a little bit more, and I'm sure you get used to it as it goes on. But I've enjoyed being in person more and just learning from the teacher, being right there and engaging with them, staying after class and talking about something that confuses me, that surprises me, and but yeah, it's been interesting.
What ways has the trip over to Hopkins for math maybe excited you for next year for college?
Yeah, I think what's great about the class, I think, is the amount of just people you meet. You're free to do really whatever you want, as long as the minimum requirements are just, hey, you need to get the problem set in by the end of the week. You need to watch the lectures. We have a group project now and then. But I think what's really excited me is that you're free to do whatever you want. You can learn whatever way works best for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think going into college next year, it really forces you to think about what habits work for me, what kind of study techniques work for me. Am I good at note taking? Do I respond positively? Do I learn better when I take notes, or do I learn better when I just watch the videos again and again? And I do that on repetition. I think doing that this year has really forced me to question and kind of reaffirm what kind of study habits I've learned from Gilman, if they work really, and with more difficult material, higher material, that kind of stuff. So
for sure.
Yeah.
So next year, University of Pennsylvania. That's exciting. I did not know that, Manav, until I saw on the Gilman College Instagram page. That I saw you're headed there next year, which is awesome.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Thank
I'm
you.
actually going to be up there on Saturday.
Oh,
Harvard
awesome.
plays Penn in lacrosse. I'm going home for the long weekend, so I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, no, I think Penn is going to be bustling on Saturday. I think they have the Quaker Day there, and the Penn band is supposed to come, so I think it'll be an awesome experience on Saturday.
Yeah.
So yeah,
City of Philadelphia.
I know it's been awesome. I went yesterday I was telling you about the Quaker Days and the Accepted Students Day, and that was like the first time I took like a formal tour of the campus with being able to go inside the buildings. Like the past year before we applied to college in the fall, we took like tours of the outside of all the campuses, and we weren't able to go inside in the buildings because of the COVID precautions. But yesterday I was able to see some of the dorms, go inside the libraries and stuff, and I loved it. Philly is just awesome, and especially Penn, where you have that mix of the campus kind of vibe on the Locust Walk, that main walk, and outside you have the city, and just life goes on in the city as normal, but I just love that mix between the two, and I'm really looking forward to next fall. So
I think it's a perfect fit because it's somewhat close to home, but you still will feel like you're on your own and you're independent, and it's a beautiful spot. So good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
What was your like college process like for someone who's a junior right now or an underclassman? What is that whole process like, and what advice do you think you would have for someone who's coming up through the ranks and is going to start applying to school soon?
Yeah, I think the beginning of the college process is really tough. I think, again, it just takes a lot of introspection about, hey, where do I want to end up? I mean, you can look at names of schools and you can look up programs that they have and the type of class they have, which really helped me, to be honest. But I think what helped me the most was to think about, hey, will I be comfortable close to home, far away from home? Do I like the city, or do I like the more traditional campus kind of vibe? And for me personally, I wanted to stay somewhat close to home, and Penn seemed like the perfect option because it's not too far, and as you said, you still gain that independence. But yeah, before I applied, we kind of took the summer to go around to all the campuses. We took like a road trip up the Northeast, and I was basically focused on Northeast schools. But I would say that the biggest thing that helped me was to talk with Gilman alumni who are currently at that school, especially during COVID, where we weren't able to have formal tours, go inside any of the buildings, and most of the information just comes from the website or by word of mouth. I think I over the summer I did like 12, 13 Zoom meetings with a bunch of different alumni from Gilman, Bryn Mawr. And I met with them on Zoom, asked them, hey, how are you liking it, about their experiences, and a lot of them had the same interests as me. They're pursuing a STEM major, and that helped me by far the most because I was talking to guys who had went through the same thing as me at Gilman, and asking them about their transition from Gilman to that school and how similar it was to Gilman. I think really helped in deciding which place I want to apply to. So,
how did you identify some of the current students at these schools? And I think also that's a great idea because especially during COVID, that every college is going to look amazing on their front web page, right? It's pretty superficial, and if you can't tour the inside of the schools, it's going to be hard to figure out if that's a good fit for you.
Right.
I think the whole college process is such a feel thing. You're not going to really know. It's such an intuitive, do I feel good? Does this feel right for me on this campus?
Yeah.
And it's, it was obviously very hard to do that during the last 2 years.
Yeah. No, a lot of them were kids from the class of 2020, 2021, 2019, kids who Gilman alums who I had been with for my 9th and 10th grade, and I'd made some connections with them through these clubs and all. And so once they moved on, I kind of saved their contact and just reached out to them. So a couple were family friends, and we their family friends actually had the students' friend who actually was from Baltimore, went to Bryn Mawr, Gilman. So it kind of it worked out well because I was able to just utilize this Gilman network that we all talk so much about, especially in your final year. I've heard so many times that, hey, you guys are now part of this Gilman network and this Gilman web, but I never really realized how helpful that is until I started the college process and I found these alumni and was able to talk to them, get their experiences, and it was amazingly helpful. So yeah.
Great, good for you.
Thank you.
How did you know that you wanted to pursue the STEM? Was that something that you found at Gilman? Is that pretty natural? You've been interested in that field for a while. You kind of know what area you want to go into. Obviously, strong math student, so that makes sense. But how do you know that that's what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I've always been interested in STEM from a young age. I was my dad is a doctor, and so seeing him, I've when I was young, I used to go and see what kind of work he does, and more recently, I've kind of realized in high school that I'm a strong math student, and doing this math class. And last summer, I did some research at Johns Hopkins Medicine with a physiology lab, and I was able to do hands-on work with scientists at the lab, and I really loved it. And for my senior encounter, I'm going to shadow an anesthetist at Hopkins. Nice. And I'll be able to be inside an operating room and see how all that kind of stuff works and interact with surgeons and stuff. So I think I've always been interested in it, and math and science has always been a passion. I've always really loved learning about the why things happen, and it's maybe sounds a bit cliche, but it's always spoke to me, I think.
Yeah.
Math and science, and I absolutely love the humanities, but if right now, if I'm to make a decision, I think it'd probably be STEM. But I think what's great about Penn is they emphasize that well-rounded education with, including some humanities classes, English classes. So I'm sure to enjoy that next year.
Excellent.
So yeah.
Do you have to, I mean, you don't even really have to know what you want to do your freshman year, right? It's more towards your end of your sophomore year when you declare a major,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah. I put down mathematical biology on my Penn application. And I thought, that was perfect because it combines both, math, which I really love, in science. And I looked at, the course list in Penn releases, what all the course requirements, and it looked great. I mean, great mix of math and science and mathematical. Mathematical biology is such a niche field, and recently I've been considering whether I want to do something with computer science or data science as well. I'm doing AP Comp Sci this year at Bryn Mawr, and I've really enjoyed that as well. And I think I feel that the future of medicine is more going to be data oriented or more technology oriented. So I think maybe pursuing a degree that combines technology, math, and science would be beneficial, and something that's not only passionate, one of my passions, but it would help in the future. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
What's that comp sci class over at Bryn Mawr like?
It's great. It's most of it is coding based. It's on not really the usual AP classes where it's all handwritten on paper, and most of our learning occurs on this Replit website, where it's a open source like coding platform where he releases labs, and our homework is to complete those labs and kind of just work with the problems. And he teaches us material at the beginning of class, and then the labs really apply that material in a real code, and you're supposed to just finish that code. And I think it's a unique way to just learn Java, which is the language that we learn in AP Comp Sci A.
Nice.
I've always just responded effectively to learning material and then applying it, and then strengthening my understanding of the material through doing labs and hands-on empirical work with that material. I think which this class really emphasizes. So I've enjoyed it a lot.
Pretty big class. Are there a lot of students in there?
Yeah, I think there are like four or five sections at Bryn Mawr.
Got it.
Two different teachers and stuff. So a lot of my friends are doing it this year, and I dabbled in some different types of coding languages in 9th, 10th grade. I did freshman year robotics with Dr. Salcedo, and we learned a bit of Python there, and I did HTML and CSS in middle school, and so
you're ahead of the curve here.
I kind of dropped off a little like 10th and 11th grade, but Java was completely new to me, so I've really enjoyed learning it and seeing the similarities between Python and other languages. So
and those are, I mean, I could be wrong here, but I think those are the most common languages that are used, Java and Python.
I believe so. Yeah. I think, I'm not sure. I know Java is definitely used a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of, I think what makes Java so useful is that a lot of the syntax that you learn in Java is applicable to other languages, and a lot of it is similar. So if you know Java, then learning a different language like Python would be pretty easy, because a lot of the logic, their Boolean logic and if else, all that kind of stuff is transcends different languages. So,
I took computer science, and that was the course in college. It was like the largest course that they had to go virtual because they couldn't fit everyone in the lecture hall. So I would watch the videos, and that was helpful to me because I could rewind and say, like, what did this guy just say? What is he talking about?
Yeah.
But I just remember from computer science, I was up till 3-4 in the morning in those groups trying to figure out where my semicolon was missing. And I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore.
It's horrible when you like write the code and everything else is correct, but like you're looking through the mistake, and I think they call it like debugging or something.
Yep.
That's just like the worst part of coding, honestly. I love like writing the actual code, but then when there's an error, it's so hard because you have to like look at each line of code again, and then each line has to be picture perfect, otherwise it won't run and there'll be a problem. So. And I think all of that just comes with experience and just doing it again and again and again.
It's all practice, yeah.
So,
What has been your favorite or one of your favorite classes or some of your favorite classes that you've taken here from ninth to 12th grade? I mean, I'm sure that's a tough question, but any really memorable courses that you've had?
I think, yeah, there's been a number of them. The one of that stands out is English, my 10th grade English class with Miss Knapp. She's an awesome teacher, and I really enjoyed that class because the way she taught it was largely discussion based, and we would read stuff for homework, and then she would just open it up and we'd all sit in a circle and just she'd give us a question and then we all talk about it. And I think we use like the fishbowl style here, and I thought it was great because very organic conversation, and we were free to just voice whatever opinions we wanted, and she was okay with anything really. And I think in just talking about the book, not in a very formal manner, it kind of strengthened our understanding of the books and the themes and stuff itself. So I think that was a great class.
And you can learn from each other, right? I mean,
for sure.
It's not just the teacher sitting up there talking about what Miss Knapp's interested in. It's like what you guys are all noticing and observing and thinking about.
Yeah, for sure. I think then she made sure to emphasize that, and she gave us the question and she steered the conversation, but it was largely up to us to, decide where the conversation is going and, learn from our peers. So that was an awesome class. I really enjoyed. I'm doing AP Bio with Mr. Fitz this year. I've been always wanting to take that class, and Mr. Fitz had been my fresh soft soccer coach, and he's my mentor in the Red Cross Club, and so we've been I've known him for a while, but it was only until this year that I've actually had him in a class, and he is awesome. He his passion for the material really shines through, and the amount of labs we do, hands-on stuff, and he really just takes time to explain like what all these biological concepts in like a real world setting. And the most of the material this year in AP Bio is in the context of like human body systems. So we went through like nervous system and digestive system and all that kind of stuff, and we were forced to use all that basic biology that we learned last year in honors bio and then apply that and see how that all comes together. And I think it's been awesome, especially since considering doing pre-medicine in college. It's been great to learn that and get a head start with that. So
nice.
Those are two, and there's like a tons of other ones that I can name, but I haven't had a bad class at Gilman. I'll say the truth. I think in all 4 years I've learned so much from all of them. And even though in things like such as art and music history, where those are classes that I originally went into it and I didn't really have much interest, I didn't really know much about, but I came out of that class saying, hey, I learned so much without even me knowing it, and just looking at art or hearing different types of music, changes your thinking in different subjects as well. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
How about most challenging class that you've had?
Most challenging, that is a hard one.
It's got to be one of those college level math classes or computer science, right?
I think the JHU class has definitely been the most challenging, and the jump from BC Calc, which was extremely challenging in itself, but going to that next level,
right.
I didn't really know like the order in which you're supposed to take college math classes, so I ended up starting with differential equations, which is not really the place you should start, because I think it like assumes you have some knowledge of calculus 3. So it was extremely difficult.
You skipped a few levels.
Yeah, they said you needed to have an AP BC Calc requirement and you needed to have taken that, but I think just the jump in difficulty of the material, and it gets a lot more theoretical as you go higher up on the in collegiate math. So I think that, or maybe I think physics 9th grade, that was also extremely challenging, just because we hadn't encountered such material before, and it was teachers also concede that it's a hard class, and because it's very math based, very like you got to have a good knowledge base of science, and like you have to be really good at like logic and all that kind of stuff, I feel, to be good at physics. And it took some adjusting to in that first semester of ninth grade. And you go really fast through the material because there's like hundreds of years of physics to cover. So
it's a tough age to be taking physics.
Yeah, for sure, tough age for sure. I think like a lot of my friends who are still in Connecticut, they like take physics their junior year, and they were all surprised that, you're taking your freshman year. Oh my God, that must be super hard. But I learned so much from that course, and I think the more challenge you get, the more you're supposed to rise to the occasion, and you come out of that class a lot stronger and ready, to tackle other science courses in the rest of your Gilman career. So I think it is a great decision that Gilman makes to have them do it freshman year and see, this is the type of challenge that, you're supposed to rise up to. This is, where you want to be. And so
love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Manav, well, I want to get into your instrument a little bit, but
sure.
Maybe since we're on the subject of Gilman and college a little bit, thinking about, graduation in a little bit over a month, right? Like
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit over a month here.
Yeah.
Thinking about your 4 years here at Gilman, what do you think makes the school work so well, and what do you think you're going to miss about it the most? Kind of a deep, tough question, but just thinking ahead a little bit.
And that's a kind of question I've considered while like thinking about my senior speech, because it's a lot about the senior speech. Is a lot about like reflecting on your time at Gilman, as I said, and thinking about like what you'll miss the most and what kind of lesson you've taken from the community. I think by far it's got to be just the brotherhood and all the connections that we've made between each other. And I really love the fact that the Gilman, each of the class sizes are so small, and that you're able to just create connections with everyone. And I don't really think many people, especially in my class, we don't have such closed friendship groups. We're all just, in the senior room, we're all just talking to each other, moving around. We all know, everyone knows everyone, and I think that's something that I don't think will happen again for a while, especially not in college where the class size is huge. 1,000, 2,000 kids, and having that brotherhood there, I think is something that I'll miss, because you learn how to become a good friend, even better friend, just because everyone, everyone, you're supposed to, be there for each other. And Gilman emphasizes that. I think even through the dress code, through wearing a tie and shirt, we don't all like it because it's not the most comfortable thing to wear, but we all go through it, and they put us through the same experiences so that we can all connect on a really deep level. And hey, you're having a bad day, all your guys will come and help you and make you feel better. No one enjoys the dress code, but hey, all your classmates are going through the same thing, so it's really easy to connect. And so I think just the Gilman environment in general just makes it really easy to form such deep friendships and great bonds. So
yeah,
hope that answers your question. It's
for
a
sure.
super hard one.
No one can really stand out by the way they look, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're all on the same level. You're all in it together.
For sure.
What it's all about.
For sure. Yeah. It's just I think being at JHU and going to Penn yesterday really has made me appreciate the type of the community that Gilman fosters, and the fact that they have lessons really hidden in everything that you do, whether it be going athletics every day to just work on yourself and push yourself. And everyone plays a sport, but it's up to you to kind of go how much do I want to improve, and it's all up to you, whether you're on a team, whether you're playing an individual sport, things like that. I think Gilman has been such an awesome place, and I've started to feel as the senior year has progressed, and now with a month left before I graduate, that I've really grown over these past 4 years in a way that I couldn't have imagined when I came here in freshman year.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it goes pretty fast, huh?
It does.
The senior year especially.
Fast. Oh yeah, it's senior year. Oh my God, I cannot believe that it's April approaching May. It's crazy. I think, and even though I thought it'd be a little bit longer, because we'd feel a little bit longer because now we're 5 days a week, and that's not something we've done for the past 2 years. We've been 3 days on, 2 days off, and
right.
That's maybe a bit easier on the scheduling, but 5 days a week, it's just gone super fast. I just cannot believe it. It's just, time has flown. Yeah.
Well, we're certainly going to miss you next year. You've been a great leader here at Gilman, and
Thank you so much. Yeah.
I've admired the way that you carry yourself and run the Model UN, and just are involved in so many aspects of the community.
Yeah, and you too. You've been an awesome advisor, and you doing the podcast and doing these new things at Gilman. And I think for the Gilman News, you did the crossword, or like the cartoon section, right? That's all these like new things that you've done has kind of inspired me to just step outside your comfort zone, just bring something new to the community. And yeah, I've always admired that about you. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
I forgot you're also Gilman News. So
yes, yeah.
So you're part of Gilman News, Model UN, tennis,
yes,
soccer in the fall.
I did soccer in 9th grade, and then I just decided to focus on tennis. But yeah,
GTV,
yes,
with Cesare here.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. Done some commentating for that. That was something I picked up fall of my junior year. So it wasn't like Model UN or Red Cross where I picked it up early. It was something that, my parents, encouraged me to do it because we all watch sports, and I always they always like how I give some nice comments about the game that going on. They're like, hey, don't you have a GTV? You have your broadcast network. Why don't you do some commentary? I'm like, yeah, let's give this a try and see what happens. And I loved it. It's fun. Yeah, it's so fun. Just
how'd you get into tennis? How'd you start playing tennis?
I started playing in 5th grade. That was we had a racket club kind of courts near our thing, and I took tennis lessons, and I played from a middle school team. And then when I thought I was good at tennis until I came to Gilman, and I saw the level that the guys who were playing at here, and it's crazy how I was telling everyone I thought I was good until I came to this school and I saw the level of the tennis program. And I think freshman year I played fresh off, and then 10th grade I played JV, and then that's when COVID hit, and I took COVID really to just work, put in the effort, try to increase my game as much as possible. And I think having such a competitive tennis nature here, and the program has been really awesome for the past 8-9 years. We've won the championship. I think that's really forced me to just rise to a new level. Mm-hmm. Put in so much work and to try to just make the team. Making the team at Gilman is a monumental task at hand. Just because everyone here is so good. So, yeah.
You think about, just in my opinion, all of the sports that are really heavily spoken about at Gilman, lacrosse and football and baseball, but I think tennis goes so under the radar. You guys are the most outstanding sport I think that we have here at Gilman.
Yeah,
at least one of the top ones. Yeah. You get a banner every year, undefeated this year, right?
Yes, so far. So
what has it been like this season, and having lightning and
this year is, I think, my second year on varsity. So it's been great this year because it's regular season, no masks.
Yep.
And this year we've started to play some of the DC schools out of the MIA conference, and the DC schools, a lot of them are where the real competition comes from.
Sidwell, right?
Sidwell. We played Landon yesterday, Potomac, all those kind of schools, and it's been great, especially when you play schools out of that conference. You bond together with your team because you're representing Maryland, you're representing Gilman, mm-hmm. at a much higher level. So it's been awesome. I play doubles for the team, and I've always played singles, but coming on varsity, I've had to learn how to play doubles, and it's pretty difficult. It's a whole world away from singles. So yeah, it's been an awesome experience. I wouldn't trade it in. So,
nice.
Yeah, for anything.
And you guys are doing pretty well, right?
Yes. Yeah, we haven't lost so far. We have couple matches this week, and then hopefully we can keep that momentum going and into the rest of the season. We've the rain and all the weather,
that's true.
Volatile weather has been pretty hard for us, especially we're always outside. So It's been going super well, and a lot of underclassmen have joined the team, a couple of freshmen, sophomores. So, and I think 6 of the guys on the team are seniors. So and we're all pretty close friends. So it's been great.
Good leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been great to bond in that way in the classroom and on the court. So
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good luck with the rest of the tennis season.
Thank you. Yeah.
And then the instrument. I'd love to talk to you about the instrument you play. You might have to pronounce it for me because I forget what you said, but tell me a little bit of how you started playing the instrument.
Yeah. It's called the tabla.
Tabla.
Yeah. It's an Indian percussion instrument similar to the bongos. It's 2 drums. One is a melodic, higher pitched drum, and one is more of like a bass drum. And you play simultaneously. You play both with your fingertips and your fingers. And I started playing in like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. I used to take lessons at my local temple, and we found a great teacher who. He did Indian classical singing, and then he also taught us tabla. My brother and I, we both started at the same time, so we would learn from him, and we would play in his concerts, his student concerts, and we'd play like duets, me and my brother and I. So and then I came to middle school. In 8th grade, I had this idea of maybe trying to play it in the jazz band. I had seen a lot of the the best tabla players in the world, and the best classical tabla players. They do these things with the Berklee College of Music, and they come to I've seen them like collaborate with like Yo-Yo Ma and all these top Western artists, and they've all like created such awesome fusion music and super unique. And I thought, hey, why not give that a try with my school's jazz band? And it worked out great. I loved it, and I was able to teach all the rest of the jazz ensemble about what the instrument was, how I could incorporate that into the band. And then when I came to Gilman, I kind of continued that in the upper school jazz band. So with Miss Nkeba's ensemble, and I've been in it for 4 years. And it hasn't been easy. It's pretty hard to play an instrument that not really anyone knows about. And that first day when I came into Gilman with the tabla, and everyone was like looking at me, and they're like, hey, what is this? And they were super inquisitive about like what it was, how it sounds, and which made me super happy because I was able to talk to them a bit about my culture and something that I was really passionate about. So it's been a blast, awesome experience doing it these past 4 years in jazz band. So it's been a bit of a progression. Yeah.
What do you think separates a top tabla player from a begin? What is the skill? There's the pace of the finger movements, or
it's most of the classical tabla are formed from these compositions, and so you create these compositions in the different. You have like a 16-beat cycle, you have 8-beat cycles, 6 beats, 5 beats, and you create these strings of compositions that you call them a kaida. It's like you play a theme, and then you play all these variations, and then you kind of the best tabla players, they can play for like an hour on end and playing at like such top speeds. I think it's the speed of your fingers. It's definitely like the ingenuity of the compositions.
Mm-hmm.
And I've like watched some of them on YouTube, and it's just mesmerizing. You can't even like you can barely see them move. It's just like a blur all over the drum, and it just takes years and years and years of practice. So I think I went to India in 2017, like when I was in I think seventh grade, somewhere between 7th and 8th grade, and I was able to take some lessons there from a tabla teacher in India, and he had trained a lot of great students, and the level there is just insane. It's really hard to say because these compositions, like your teacher gives them to you. Like I know a bunch of different kaidas, and but the real ones, like the top players, like they create their own, and they like add these little flares and different types of like unique takes on those like simple 16-beat cycles, which I think separates them.
Got it.
It's
interesting. Was that the first time that you've gone to India in 7th grade?
I had been like 2 other times before. So I went, when I was in 3rd grade, and like we had went one time before that. So I've been like 3 times. 2017 was like the last time I went to India though. So we have a lot of family there. My dad and mom, their extended family lives in India and stuff. So I think we're hopefully gonna make a trip in December for a
Nice.
family member's wedding. So
Oh,
yeah,
great.
yeah, it'll be great to see everyone. It's such a cool place.
What is it like there? I've thought about
Yeah.
maybe going over.
Yeah, it's awesome. Last in 2017, we spent like around a month there, and so my dad's from Mumbai, and we stayed with one of our family members there, and it's just so different. Like,
Yeah.
Baltimore is a city, but when you go to Mumbai, it's you take the concept of a city to a whole different
It's a
level.
real city.
It's a real city. I mean, the amount of people just like all packed in
Yeah.
such a small area. Everyone lives in an apartment there. There's like no spaces for houses there. All the rickshaws. You have, vendors on the street selling all these different types of food. There's the distinct smells there. I think it's so different. I think and people in India, I think, have like a different type of mindset, especially living in a city where you just kind of have to be a little bit more pushy to get by, and it's really helped me take into perspective like how slow of a pace we take things here in the U.S. I think especially
Really?
yeah.
So it feels.
I feel like in India when we go over there, like everything is just moving so fast because everyone's like super packed together. And
Yeah.
everyone's like really connected, and like everything is open there. All the restaurants open doors, and people just walk in and out. And the rickshaw rides, like you can wave your hand, and a rickshaw will just come and take you wherever you want to go. And it's just I don't really know how to describe it. It's just different. I think it's and it's really helped me just connect to my culture. It's been awesome going there whenever we can. So
And Mumbai is like where geographically in India?
It's in like toward the center. So
Okay.
my family is originally from Gujarat, which is like toward the western side. But Mumbai is like kind of just the main hub of India, Bombay, Mumbai. It's Yeah, my dad, he did medical school there, and he lived there in like one of the small kind of apartment complexes around Mumbai, and they have like these little different sections. So yeah, it's like the main hub there, and we take trips all the time to Gujarat, where a lot of our family lives as well, and that's a little bit more rural, but still kind of has fast-paced city vibe as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Even outside of the
Yeah,
major hubs.
Yes, I think from like where our family is in Gujarat, it's about like a 4 or 5 hour train ride, and still people are
Fast-paced.
Fast-paced, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. But Mumbai is just a whole different thing in itself. I mean, and the weather there is just so different. Like we went over the summer, like the summers in the U.S. is like monsoon season over there, and it's like super hot, but it's also there's rain at a level that you wouldn't expect. I mean, you like cannot even go outside because you'll like get drenched like the literal second you step outside, and it's crazy how much rain comes
Yeah.
there, and it gets like really humid, and just the weather is. We talk about weather in Maryland being like so volatile, but in India it's a whole different story. So
Yeah, you think
yeah.
the summers in Baltimore are humid. Wait till you
Exactly.
see. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and they have their own methods of coping, with the heat, and ice cream and and all that kind of stuff is a big thing there. So that's it's been awesome to go into summers, and because you can kind of compare what it's like there and here. So
Interesting.
yeah.
And the book recommendation you brought today is an
Yes.
Indian writer, correct?
Yes, Jhumpa Lahiri. We have a couple of her books at home, and I kind of just found this in the shelf. Like, it was over spring break I read this, and I had read some of her short stories last year in the 11th grade Mr. Rao's English class, and we did a whole personal essay unit just in preparation for college apps and stuff. And so I decided to read, the Lowland.
What is the Lowland
Yeah.
about?
It's about these two brothers from Bengal, which is in the southern part of India, and it kind of follows their story as they live in this village where they have the Communist Party kind of coming and taking over, and one of the brothers ends up becoming a leader of that Communist Party, and another brother moves to the United States, and it just kind of follows their paths and how the relationship between them, grows, farther apart, but also they also grow a little bit closer, although they're geographically distant. And what I found super interesting about the book was how it used like the unconventionally like different perspectives of storytelling. Like every chapter, the perspective shifts. So it goes from one brother to the brothers' mom and one of the brothers' wives who moved to the U.S. and it sometimes switches to like someone in America who was like a friend of that brother, and she writes it in such a masterful way that although it is talking about Indian immigrants, and I think a lot of her work is about Indian people moving to America and assimilating with American culture. I think her themes about brotherhood and love and assimilation with new environments is something that I think speaks to all readers. And she makes a lot of references to Indian culture, and I think also she tries to teach readers about like Indian culture and in this case Bengali culture. And I think even for me, I've learned more about my own culture by reading her book. So it was an awesome read, and it was
I love that idea. It's something that I've thought about a lot, is like the nature versus nurture question. And it sounds like that just these two brothers that are like biologically related, but they're growing up and having completely different experiences, and how they might change because of those nurture experiences, but how they're the same, because of their roots.
Right.
I think that's just fascinating concept.
Yeah. And the two brothers, she makes it a point from the beginning to show how personality wise they're really different. And so like the readers can maybe get a hint that they're going to go on divergent paths as they grow up. And I think, especially with this unique way of storytelling where she changes the perspective every chapter, you can see this nature versus nurture and how their thought processes are different, and how the brothers, although they grew up under the same roof, how differently they think about the history and the communism and that's taking over their village and town and country and stuff. So it's
love it.
Great combo of history but also more traditional Indian themes, and I think she just does a great way of incorporating all these different types of themes and motifs and stuff. So
great. Well, I'll put the Lowland on the reading list. I'll also recommend one of her short stories that I read recently is The Interpreter of Maladies, and it has similar, I think she writes pretty similar thematic stories, but it's about a family, a husband, a wife, and I think 3 kids who are visiting India.
Okay.
And the tour guide is, you get this character who's the tour guide, and he's kind of observing this family dynamic as an outsider almost. And there's a rift, I think, between the father and the wife. And
same here.
The tour guide actually becomes attracted to the wife, like over their visit, and he starts to like think about her and maybe having a relationship with her in the distant future. And you're kind of seeing his thoughts, which I like too, that you get like that limited perspective a bit.
Yes. Yeah.
But then the wife reveals something to the tour guide and kind of just changes that dynamic of the story. I wasn't really sure how the ending would fit, but I love the way that she ended this. I think it's probably a 15-16 page story, Interpreter of the Maladies. And that's also the name of her short story collection. So I'll add that as another Jhumpa Lahiri rec.
A similar thing happens in this book where like one of the brothers marries this Indian woman, and then she ends up marrying the other brother and moving to the U.S. with him, and then that changes the dynamic in how the first brother remembers and thinks about the second brother. And she uses like the characters to kind of still talk about the brothers. Like in the story, I feel is centered around the 2 brothers, but the number of other characters she introduces in their lives and talks about them from their perspective, I think, shows the similarity between nature and nurture, and different perspectives. And
she's, I think, and I haven't read much of her, but I think she's just very good from what I've read of like building out a full character from those different perspectives, because like I know you, Manav, from one point of view, but Cesare knows you from a different point of view. And if you can get all of those different perspectives in a story, it just makes like a real realistic version of someone.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's a great rec.
Yes.
And thank you very much for coming on today.
Thank you.
Appreciate the time, and best of luck to you. And sad we're going to be missing you here at Gilman, but you've done a lot of great things for the school.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
You've been a really impressive leader. So I'm very grateful that you came on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, again, this was an awesome conversation. Yeah, super sad that I'll be leaving in a couple months, but this was an awesome memory to take with me. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Manav.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.